Most people don't know what the maximum potential of their pawn shop is. So they see that $12 and they think, yeah, I made 12 bucks. I'm doing good. I'm net positive. The company's doing okay. And I look at it the other way and I go, well, if the maximum potential is 20, you actually lost $8 an hour.
So what do you think is when you talk about metrics, I was just talking with somebody on the phone and they basically told me that, I just look at my software dashboard and then I pray for the money to be made and hopefully it works out. When you talk about business, I think that people need to know their numbers. And in the pawn business, there's this gap of people who know their numbers. There's a huge gap of people who don't. What do you think we can do to bridge that gap, and what is so important about these numbers to be able to make your business move forward?
Let me start off with an example, and this might explain why the metrics matter to most people. If you get a job and you get hired and you negotiate and you onboard for $20 an hour, let's say, just to keep the math simple, and you get a paycheck and suddenly it's got $12 an hour on it, you know there's a problem. You're aware that, wait a minute, this isn't what I agreed on, this isn't what I should be seeing, so you can take action. You can talk to the owner, you can find out what happened. But most people don't know what the maximum potential of their pawn shop is. So they see that $12 and they think, yeah, I made 12 bucks. I'm doing good. I'm net positive. The company's doing okay. And I look at it the other way and I go, well, if the maximum potential is 20, you actually lost $8 an hour. And that's the gulf that we're trying to span, to find out what the secret sauce is between the guys that are making 12 and the guys that are making 20, and then kind of put those best practices into presentations and research, right?
I love that. So you're working kind of backwards as to, it's not what I made, it's what I've lost, and where can I make up that gap, especially now that business has become harder for pawnbrokers. You want to be able to know. I mean, we've talked about this before. Increasing 2, 3, 4% to the bottom line can actually turn into something big.
Well, it's interesting. A number of years ago, I presented at Midwest, and I got contacted after the presentation by a small group of shops, and they said, "Hey, how does your data fit into our store model?" So I talked to them, and we kind of ran some numbers back and forth, and they said, "Yeah, we sold one of our stores a number of years ago." And I said, "Well, how did that play out?" And they said, "Well, we got paid a multiple of earnings, and essentially." And when we fed my metrics through and we said, well, you're not achieving your maximum potential interest yield for kind of the store size you're at, this would have resulted in about another $50,000, $60,000 on the bottom line. And since you got essentially 5 times earnings, you lost $250,000 on that buy price.
Oof.
And then the phone got really quiet thereafter, right? So, and this is the hard part. I mean, you can't undo the past. Once you've lost the money, once you've run inefficiently, once you've made the mistake, you have to pay the consequences for that until your changes manage to catch up and get some velocity, right?